Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's gloomy outside. When I woke up early this morning, the sun was shining, and now I walked outside, and all I hear is this thunder and lightning. And I'm telling you, this is Sidebar. You know where you are. I saw a couple of people that I had never seen before. Viper's Pit, who are you? I've never seen your name before. Thank you for joining us. And also, Juice Ram. Brand new people, which proves that all of our old school people are telling everybody where to go to find us every Saturday. We start at 9:30 at sidebartv.com. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on X. You can watch us on Facebook. And we're so sorry. We had technical difficulties last week. You missed the best show we've ever done. I always say that when we're not on. But we are here again this week, and I just feel like so left out because I am not part of the baseball hat club, and I should have been because I did not brush my hair today, and I was like, it's going to rain. And George, love that one. Nico, love the baseball cap. Salo, Sandra, love the baseball caps. And yes, I have none. It's not good. Did y'all have a busy week? Anything going on? I know that you've had every big giant case that there is in the nation. I'm saying that, but anything coming up on your?
Yeah, we got a big case coming up in July. I mean, all our cases are big. Our clients, think their case is big, and it is. It's big to them. And we focus on that. We try to focus on each client. Their case is the biggest case in their lives, and so we don't look at that. We don't think, oh, this one's going to be national, or this one's going to be this, or statewide. So, I'm blessed to work with an amazing team that I learn from every day. And but we have a big one coming up in July.
Okay.
Police officer involved, shooting case.
Oh, boy. Hey, I'm going to ask you what you did this week, too, but I just wanted to answer Douglas Justice. He said, good morning. When is the live in-person event? And I think we've settled on July 11th. Without you, we haven't gotten your okay, Nico, but isn't it July 11th? That's what we're aiming for.
We settled on July 11th. What do you think?
He has to look at his calendar.
I'll let you know if I show up.
No, we're not doing anything without you. Ernest and Renee and Richard and Charles and Jean and everybody, thank you so much for being here. George, you were silent this week. Did you have a busy week? Yes.
Pensive. Just very pensive this week. No, I didn't know that I was silent.
Just working.
Ask
doing
my
your
wife.
regular thing.
She might disagree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been weird, and this is Memorial Weekend, so that's even more special. While all of these people join us every week, this is even more special because a lot of people, even though gas was $1 million a gallon this week, that's what the news says anyway. That people are still going out of town. I don't know who they are. They must be finding it in some cheap place. I mean, it was weird this week. Okay, I'm going to shut up right after this topic, but it was weird because one day at my hidden cheap gas station, it was like $4.25 a gallon, and the next day it was $3.19 or something like that. And I was like, wait a second, what is going on? What is going on? People just put any price that they want on the gas in the neighborhoods, or what is that?
I mean, look, it's an issue. We got to deal with it. Republicans have to deal with it. Trump has to deal with it. I mean, it's still cheaper than when Biden was in office, but that the people don't care about that. I mean, I think the whataboutism is a weak argument. Only just to put perspective. Say, if this is really an issue with you, then why was it an issue when it was high under Biden?
No one
That's
reports
kind of my
on
issue.
that. No one reports on that last year.
Again, it's not. Yeah. We know why it's up. There's a global market. We know Iran issue has gone longer than it should have. I don't know if it was underestimated. I don't know if Trump's getting bad advice. But and I said it back then, and I don't care about being right or wrong. I really don't. But so it ain't gonna be 2 weeks. It's not gonna be 4 weeks. This is gonna be long, and now it's long. And I don't know if there's an exit strategy.
So
I know
are you
that's
saying
not one
that
of our
George
topics.
was wrong?
No, I mean, he can be wrong. I can be wrong. We all can be wrong. Trump can be wrong. The only person that's right all the time is Jesus.
Exactly.
But all I'm saying is I knew it wasn't going to be 4 weeks, and I'm no expert in this stuff. I can read a room, and so it's long. And now, when is it going to end? Is it going to end properly? Is it going to end in time for the midterms?
How is it going to end?
How is it going to end? I mean, Iran is obviously, they don't give a shit. I mean, they're ready to die. I don't know why. You cannot have a pet scorpion, and you can't have a pet rattlesnake. So I don't know why we're still playing this game with him. I don't know what Trump is doing. I trust him to be in that position, but I have questions like everybody else does, and I'm just going to wait and see how this ends up. I'll be the first one to criticize the shit out of him if this thing goes to hell in a handbasket. But I don't know. I don't know what the exit
I think
strategy
like most people, we were half right on this in the sense that you knew that. I think we've said from the very beginning there was no path out of this that didn't a real path out of this that didn't involve the extermination of the regime. You can't negotiate with a pet scorpion, and these people are pretty clear about what they want to see happen in the United States and
that
Israel.
hasn't
And the rest
happened,
of
though, right?
Right, and the other part, that part, I think we were clear about that. The other part is, can it happen in 4 to 6 weeks? And yeah, I mean. Look, I focused more on Rubio at the time than I did Trump because Rubio is much more methodical. He's much more orderly and thought out in the way he explains things.
Is thought out, yes.
And the way he presented it, it seemed feasible. It seemed reasonable. I didn't think it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks because Trump said so. Trump says a lot of things, and he has a PhD in hyperbole, and sometimes that works for him, and sometimes it doesn't. Right. But I didn't look to Trump's statements as a determinant. I did and have and continue to focus more on what Rubio says. I trust him more in that regard because I think he is more methodical. He is more thought out. Yeah. He does explain the interrelationship between things and how things tie into each other, whether it's people or assets, in terms of how to frame this war. And even Rubio has been, I don't know, he's been kind of back and forth. So I don't know where it stands. But I am clear, and I think you are too, and most reasonable people are, because we have these 50 years of history to show that there is no path out of this. There is no, Iran wandering off into a peaceful sunset with this regime in place. It's just never ever going to happen.
They're not going to play nice. I mean, so I know that's not one of the topics you wanted to talk about, Karen.
But maybe I do want to know about that because maybe Trump is ready to blow them to smithereens, but maybe that's not a good look for the country. I keep on thinking, is that the only thing?
A nuclear Iran would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I mean, all these people that claim, it's Israel got us into this. Okay, I'm open-minded to following the evidence wherever it leads us. But the fact remains, multiple presidents, multiple people, I think that the sentiment was clear. We don't want a nuclear Iran. It's different than North Korea. North Korea understands the mutual destruction theory. That if I use mine, you're going to use yours, and if I'm okay dying, then I guess I'll use it. Iran doesn't think that way. They think they're going to be rewarded in the afterlife if they end up dying a martyr. It's a very different. These are people that do suicide bombings. North Koreans don't do suicide bombings. I mean, so it's a very different ideology. And until you get into the ideology, until you understand the ideology, you're not going to negotiate well with these people, and you have to understand your opponent. And so
Sid Burns always joins us every Saturday, and she said, bottom line, the religion says to populate, take over the world, and lying, cheating, murdering, enslavement, they're all encouraged to achieve that. So
Sid is talking about taqiyya, the concept of taqiyya, to lie to further the movement. It's an imperialistic system, meaning that they want one caliphate under one caliph. That's just a fact. Islam doesn't play nice anywhere it has control. That's how you can tell an ideology. How does it treat people when they're in control? When they're rising to control, it's different. Lie, cheat, and steal to get there. But once they have the power, how do they treat you? And that's, you can judge any person, by the way. Give them power or problems. I always say that, and you'll find their true character. Once Islam is in control, they never play nice to people. You will not show me one example where women are honored, gays are allowed to make their own decisions. You can have an opinion. You can have free speech. You can do this. You can have an opposing opinion and criticize Islam. You'll never find an example where Islam is in control and they play nice with people. And that's just the bottom line. So learn about the ideology. This is not about individuals. That's why I never talk about Muslims. I talk about Islam. There's a difference. And people better wake the hell up.
So a comment before we start from Douglas. He says, thank you all for having this platform because I don't trust Megyn Kelly, Rogan, MS Now, CBS, NBC. They're all disgusting and they should just shut up, and they're dividing people and have been doing so since the 60s. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We might as well just go ahead and start the show. Let's take a look at what's happening this week. I mean, the gang's all here. So let's see what happened this week in the news. Something that was significant happened. Massey lost, and everybody talked about it because President Trump endorsed. Now, who was his opponent? I asked Hello. Wait, who was his opponent? It didn't matter. Ed
I don't
Gallagher.
know. He's not that impressive from what I heard him talk.
But Massey didn't win, and that was the story.
I'm going to be the outlier here. I'm not a supporter of Massey. I'm not an opponent to Massey. I don't really know the dude much. I've never followed his career. He's turned into some type of martyr. You know, for the Epstein files, when Biden was in office, it's not like he was demanding the Epstein files to be released. He used to wear that deficit clock walk around, which I appreciate that. He's more of a libertarian. Him and Chip Roy really care about the deficit. It seems they seem to care about the deficit. I don't know what their heart is. You know, I don't know about the dude. I mean, George is going to give you a list of things of how he voted against the border, which libertarians are a little, you know, they're not as strong on the border as I would like them to be. You know, the border is a big issue for me, and I think it's a big issue for this country. So, I mean, you know what? The people voted him out, and I don't think it's AIPAC. I mean, I don't think it's
an endorsement.
I don't know. Who cares? I mean, Pharma's got more influence than AIPAC. Well, I mean, I just think this boogeyman argument is weird. Look, I am no fan of Israel. I'm no fan, and George will tell you this. I'm no fan of Israel. I can't stand Bibi Netanyahu. I can't stand him. I think he's a crook. I put that on the record. But I gotta objectively look at evidence, and there's people that think that Israel does everything wrong and they're the root of all evil, and there's people that they walk on water, and the truth is neither are true. I don't believe that they're saved. Jews are saved without Jesus Christ. I mean, they're the chosen people because they ushered in the gospel. God chose that ethnicity to usher in the gospel message. Jesus, we have an ethnically Jewish Messiah. We have to deal with that, people, if you're a Christian. So, I mean, to me, I really look at things. I apply a biblical lens to my analysis, because that's my worldview. And if you're Islamic, you're going to apply an Islamic lens. If you're atheist, if you're Hindu or Buddhist, you're going to do that. So, I mean, Massey's a weird one. Look, I'm okay with him not being a team player. I'm not into that bullshit. I mean, if your team is wrong, then stand up against your team, because I believe in principles over party. And now, whatever party accepts my principles, that's where I'm going to go. So my identity is not in the Republican Party. My identity is not. I'm a Christian conservative, but it means something to me, and I try not to be goofy about it. I can at least defend my positions. I believe logically, whether you agree with them or not. So I don't know. I mean, he's out. He's out. What are you going to do? I mean, I don't know this guy coming in.
I don't care about Massey either.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but George,
I do want to bring it up because everybody said it was an endorsement by Trump that helped him lose, but that made me think of Paxton.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump's endorsement does matter. I don't think it's the whole story. I don't think it's honest to say it's the whole story, because the reality is that he didn't get along with Trump either in 2020, in the first term. And at that time, yeah,
okay.
And if you go back to 2020, I mean, they were trying to push that stimulus package. Now, on this, I would probably align much closer to Massey. I'm just simply making the point that they didn't get along. Massey had a good point. It was a $2 trillion stimulus package in the aftermath of COVID. Really on the fence about whether that money was going to be spent correctly. Look what happened. I mean, there's been all kinds of fraud with that money. So, and Massey wasn't alone. He wasn't like some lone maverick warrior. There's lots of people who expressed significant concerns with that. Anyway, there was a lot of back and forth between him and Trump, and then Trump called him worthless, disgraceful, all this stuff at that time. And then Massey goes into a primary, and how does he do? 81-19, and he wins overwhelmingly with lots of Trump pushback. Right, so it's not just Trump. Something happened between.
So he won in his first re-election bid, 81% to 19%.
Well, he's been there for 14 years.
He's been there for 14 years.
Okay,
he's been there for 14 years.
Well, one of them. So Trump wasn't supporting him one time, and he still won.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
That was my point.
Good point.
It's not just a Trump thing. So I want to kind of tie back to what Nico said. He said a lot of things, but the one thing that kind of piqued my interest was when he said, "Hey, there's became a bit of a martyr." And I think that's the stuff that people have soured on. So yeah, Trump has pull, but this is hardly just about Trump. I think it's more about the fact that his voters are largely the same. So it's not the voters that have changed in their view, it's Massey's changed. So what's changed about Massey? And I think he's been an insufferable, sort of, Epstein, obsessant individual. I mean, just over the top on the hate for Israel. I mean, everything's Israel. I mean, even as a concession speech, totally low class. I was busy looking for my opponent, but it was hard to find him in Tel Aviv. This is a representative of the United States Congress. I mean, okay, I guess that's the place to do that. Just this is where he spends all his time. And Mr. Principled Conservative. And everything's Epstein, right? Because he really cares about the victims. And Nico brought up another good point, which is, where have you been? Epstein's been around. The Epstein issue has been around since 2008, 2009. He was first arrested.
Yeah.
How many tweets exactly does Thomas Massey have on Epstein in the last 10 years? I mean, less than the number of fingers on your hand. Where have you been if you were so concerned? It's not like this wasn't known. It wasn't public knowledge. He's been a member of Congress for longer than that. So he knew all of this was going on internally. Where's he been? It wasn't politically advantageous, okay? And then I'll say this and I'll shut up. I think he overestimated. To me, it's a key takeaway here. Because Nico and I have gone back and forth on this. Because I think it's important. I think this kind of a microcosm of our discussions here of what's going on in the nation. This debate of whether it will matter in the midterms, for instance, that the Candace Jones, did I just do a hybrid there? Candace Owens and Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, and now, much to my chagrin, Megyn Kelly, because I really, really like Megyn Kelly.
I do too.
So is it going to matter? And I think that Thomas Massey's loss, I think, speaks to that, because I think he put way too much emphasis on that contingent, and in the end, he got absolutely shellacked. It was a major, major loss. Let's not.
But I'm open to what all those people say about Israel.
Brother, I am too. I'm not saying. I'm saying.
I mean, I got a buddy of mine that says it's been well established. I go, man, rules of evidence apply to a courtroom for a reason. We can't be my cousin Vinny. Everything you said is bullshit, and just because I said so,
Right.
it doesn't work that way. I mean, and so I follow the evidence wherever it leads. If it means that the Israel was behind JFK and all the other stuff they say out there, so be it. Crush them, get them out. They don't make us our ally. They are a strategic ally, and they're not our friends. I've said this on the show before. Israel is not our friends, and we're not their friends. It is a very opportunistic, convenient relationship. You don't spy on your friends. That you're not friends. So to quit using that language. I can't stand that shit.
That has become so clear
I can't stand
since
that
Iran.
shit.
It really has.
They spy on us and we spy on them. We're not friends. We are strategic allies. There's a strategy. We're opportunistic, and that's it. Just call it what it is. It's not terrible to say something like that. I mean, so the whole walking between the raindrops, Israel does not, look, I mean, I got a lot to say about October 7th and how he benefited politically from it. Look, those are legitimate points to make. They're legitimate points. I mean, there's no answers to October 7th. There's no answer to how Bibi was on the verge of civil war and he was going to get ousted and get indicted, and then all of a sudden things changed. But look, that's entering that into the record. Now, where that plays in the big scheme, I don't know.
And I frankly don't care either. I mean, at the end, whatever the truth is.
I care if a country has undue influence. Every country has influence over other countries if you have alliances with each other. We have influence over them. We have influence over Japan. We have influence over this. People have influence over us. So influence is not the problem, is whether it's undue influence. That's the key to me.
Right. Whether your influence is so significant that you cause another country to go against their own best interests. And so that's the rub here. Is Israel doing that? Are they causing America to go against its own best interests? Is Trump just sort of laying down the United States government just doing whatever Israel wants? I deny that because I don't see the evidence for that. I also have a serious problem with the well-established crowd, and that's been everywhere. We had lots of well-established apologists during the COVID era. Remember? Yeah. It's well-established. It wasn't well-established at all. Yeah. In fact, the opposite was well-established. Yeah. So I really worry about that too. I see it in political discourse. I agree. I don't think that, I don't disagree that Bibi Netanyahu benefited considerably from what happened. That's a long road from there to he was responsible for October 7th. See, that's the problem that I have. Yeah. So anyway,
it doesn't mean he wasn't. You're just saying you're not there yet.
Right, but you don't go into a court of law arguing from silence,
yes,
right? So we don't make arguments from silence. That's all I'm saying. If that's the case, then so be it. Now, there have been IDF probes of the whole thing. I don't like, here's what I don't like. There have been probes and they've identified what the issues were. What I don't like is that there was support inside for a third-party review of it, and Netanyahu pushed back on that. Why? Now, there's two arguments. One is he knew that he didn't have a whole lot of friends at the time, and he didn't want that to be used as a political football against him. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, it reflected poorly on him, like he was trying to hide things. Yeah. You can make that argument. The bottom line is this: Massey has thrown his chips in with, Israel is at the root of all evil crowd, and so voters are not okay with that. And he can have his opinion, but this is where he spends his time. Does the man have any time to address the issues that are pertinent to Kentuckians? So they came out and they said, "You're out of here." I mean, this is a significant loss. A 10-point loss is significant when you consider this guy has won significantly, Nico, in the past.
His opponent's no great candidate.
Right. I mean, I had to look up his name.
I only heard like 3 of his interviews and like, oof.
Well, let's look at the numbers. Yeah, if you go back a couple of years, he got like 40. He won by like 40,000 votes. He had 47,000, so he had more voters this time. But Gallrein had 58,000.
What's his name?
Gallrein. Thank you for pronouncing his name. I
Had
didn't know.
Had 58,000 votes. So a 10-point difference. And when you look at how well, this is a Republican plus 18 district. When you look at how well Massey has done, this was a significant fall from grace. Voters came out and said, we're not okay. Enough with the bullshit. I mean, you traffic in innuendo and conspiracy all day long. Principled my ass. They didn't like what he did at the One Big Beautiful Bill, okay, because he couldn't see the forest for the trees. Apparently, there was way too much money expended for border security. Excuse me, were you there? Were you present in 2024 when the voters said they actually wanted the border secured, like in spades? This is the problem. So much for being principled, and I get really leery when I hear the quote-unquote principled conservative moniker, because I don't see a lot of principled conservatism in the United States Congress, which should probably dovetail us into the John Cornyn discussion. But anyway, this Massey's part of that. I'm a principled guy. And you look at him on issues that voters care about. He's been nowhere to be found. He's too busy hanging out with the Epstein crowd. He's hanging out with the anti-Israel crowd, and voters said, I'm sorry, what does that have to do with Kentucky's interests?
Before we go on to the Cornyn issue, I honestly need an explanation. Tucker Carlson says Massey's loss is obviously the death of MAGA. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I don't even listen to Tucker anymore. I mean, he's lost all credit. I'll still listen to Candace because she has some points that I'll listen to.
Yeah.
Tucker's lost his fucking mind.
But
just,
I don't even understand.
And that asshole defends Islam. I mean, anyone who defends the ideology of Islam, you've lost me. I mean, I don't even want to hear anything he says. And that stupid cackle, I've never liked his cackle. It's fake as shit. I mean,
Right.
he got property in Qatar. He's being funded by Islamic groups. So you want to talk about being funded and being bought out? I mean, please, it goes both ways. Patrick Bet-David took his nuts, called him out. He criticizes PBD. PBD says, let's do forensic accountants. Let's do your wife's account. Let's do my account, my wife's account. Let's do independent people that we trust. Crickets. PBD took his nuts. So screw Tucker. I don't care what he says, to be honest with you. I don't know what he means. He can laugh all he wants. He's a one-trick pony to me, and I used to like him a lot. So I give no joy saying this opinion about Tucker Carlson, but that guy's a hack.
It's interesting because when you hear people say, I'm a principled conservative, and the trademark for being a principled guy is that you go against your party, if that's the only indicator, we got problems, because you could be going against your party and your party might actually be totally correct in their stance on something. It doesn't, just because you go against your party and you're a maverick doesn't make you principled. It just might make you an opportunist, you know, and it might get you some airtime because it's an element of conflict.
George, what do you think? I mean, you know how I feel about this. I don't know why we've gotten into this all or nothing thing. Because if you support somebody, you support everything they do. If you don't support somebody, you just support nothing what they do. How about you just have principles, and then whoever is right about a principle is right. I mean, me and Alan will talk. We're friendly now, and we had that lunch I told you together. And there's things we agree on, and there's things we don't agree on. And we can agree on, or Mark Antoine, or whoever else watches us that disagrees overall with my ideology. I'm not afraid to agree with somebody that I disagree with on other things. Bill Maher, whoever it is. I can't stand this rules of engagement we have now, that you're either all in or not all in, or either Israel's all bad or all good. How about Israel is what it is, or how about Tucker is what it is, or whatever it is. I don't know, man. I just think we're in a very weird space, and all this primary bullshit, it doesn't really matter if we can't win generals. This bothers me. I'm bothered. So Paxton's probably going to win. I heard he was up in the polls anyway. Tallarico scares the shit out of me. That son bitch can win. Yeah. I mean, imagine if Beto didn't lose by a lot to Ted. Not that Ted is whatever. I mean, but Beto didn't get crushed the first time. He did not get crushed the first time. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that fraud had said he didn't want to take away guns from people? If he didn't just have Tourette's for a second and say what he really meant and lied like everybody. Give him credit for being honest, at least. Who knows? Maybe he thought that was going to play well in that district. Can you imagine? Who knows what would have happened?
I think this is... they should take that little clip of what you just said. Republicans, I think, certainly the Republican Congressional Committee ought to take that clip and just pause and reflect on it. Because it's not that people love Republicans, because they certainly do not. They don't. Voters don't really like Republicans. They see them as feckless. They see them as unreliable. The Republican base doesn't even like Republicans, for goodness sakes. Okay, because but what we're doing is we're picking poisons. That's all we're doing. We don't like Republicans, but we dislike Democrats more.
Based off ideology.
Right. And that's why Tallarico's a problem. If you had another Bill Clinton today, we would lose.
Absolutely.
100%. 35 years ago, Bill Clinton won.
Great point.
And there is no Bill Clinton. They're all nuts. But in 35 years ago, this is why Bill Clinton won.
Yeah.
Because he came in and he appealed. He was reasonable, okay?
And he adjusted.
Listen,
Exactly.
both sides, yes.
Exactly. And people thought, all the things that I care about, the Democrat platform, had run on for 1,000 years and never governed that way, of course. Caring for the downtrodden and the marginalized, that kind of thing. Bill Clinton came and kind of put heart back into politics. Yeah. But he also wasn't insane. He talked about things that were, he believe it or not, pause, grab something, hold on to yourself here. He talked about fiscal controls, fiscal responsibility. Can you believe that?
Strong border.
A Democrat talking about that. And he had done a reasonable job. He wasn't insane in Arkansas. If you had another Bill Clinton today, we'd be in trouble. The reason we have a good shot at winning is because they're crazy. They're batshit crazy.
Yeah, but Tallarico doesn't.
And Tallarico,
he uses the language. I'm telling you.
Right, and this is why Tallarico seems.
Josh Howler, what's his name? The pastor in Dallas.
Howerton. Yeah.
He's just bold about it. He's calling it out. He does podcasts on it. He talks about it. He just says, look, he's using Christian language, not Christian meaning and ideology. This guy is dangerous. I'm telling you, he presents well. He flowers it up. He appeals to people. He's got charisma. He looks the part. I mean, I'm telling you. So my issue is, it doesn't matter, this whole bitching in the primary, great. We need to worry about our candidates that we present forward. But can Paxton beat Tallarico? I mean, I hope so. I mean, they're going to come after. Look at Cornyn's commercials. And I haven't even seen people. I don't watch TV, but people have sent me some of them. They're brutal.
This is why people, and Cornyn is doing rather poorly. His numbers are getting worse and worse and worse. And look, I think there's a parallel between Cornyn and Bill Cassidy in Louisiana. Cornyn, the parallels are striking. Bill Cassidy was totally uncontested in previous elections. Have you seen how he did in his primary? He didn't even finish second. He was a distant third. He got a quarter. I mean, it was like a 20-point difference. Voters, when they vote for conservatives, they want them to behave as conservatives. If you're going to say you're going to do X, then do X. I like that that's happening in our voter base right now. I do. I like that people are saying enough is enough. Now, I really hope, to Nico's point, I want to see them, when it's time for the general, show your ass up, get your neighbor, knock on doors, because that intensity in the primary doesn't necessarily translate to the general. And I hope that it does for our sakes. And look, I'm not worried about Ken Paxton. I was not, as you guys know, I was not one of those guys, he can't win. I just don't agree with that. I think I was texting back and forth, thinking I would text him back and forth this week. And as I was texting, I said, he's an able politician. The man has won. Consistently, he's been a winner.
But Mamdani won.
What do Cornyn's people do? Are they sour grapes? Do they stay home? What happens? I'm telling you, this is a 55-45 state.
That's an excellent question.
This is a 55-45 state. This is not a red state.
And I think what you see, that's why the Cassidy example is important.
They're going to attack Paxton. And look,
yes,
I'm a little bit biased. I'm going to be honest. I don't agree with everything Paxton's done, but he was very supportive of me even when I was DA under the Democrat platform. He went on Tucker Carlson and said, "Hey, there was this DA in Bexar County named Nico LaHood. Strong. I mean, he was a Democrat, but he was doing the right things. I supported him greatly. He talks about me.
Amazing.
I mean, he goes, and then Soros didn't like him, and then went against him and tried to get him out of it. So of course, there's going to be a little bit of that. I'm just being honest with you. Do I agree with some of his moral failures? Of course not. I don't agree with King David's either. So there's people that are going to criticize him for his moral failures and for things that he's done, and there's other people that think he's a crook. Fine, that's fine. Show the evidence, and you can have your opinion. But to me, on the end, is who's going to win that general? Because I hope Cornyn's people say, well, screw it. I mean, if you took my guy out, then burn the barn down, and this is what you're going to get. And you better be. Don't think.
And
that
guess
can't
who's
happen.
doing that? Guess who's doing right now? Mr. Principled Conservative, a team player. John Cornyn's doing that because if you remember, Trump said a while ago, I think it was in March, he said, "Look, I am going to make my endorsement." And then when I do that, I would appreciate if the other person who was endorsed, if you'd step out, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like John Cornyn came out and said, "Yay, man, Mr. President, I'll do that." He didn't do that, but he's sitting there nodding. Okay, where is he? I mean, his ads are still running. Okay, it doesn't matter. And even after he loses, he's going to continue to work for Paxton's downfall. That's my prediction. Because that's who we're dealing with here. This guy's a
So
freaking
dangerous.
He's a
But
freaking
that's
snake.
what happened. That's what happened with Allison when Mark beat his ass. I mean, this is how people are. They're not principled. They're about people.
Exactly.
They're about their own priorities. And so if you go after my person and you go after my priority, then you're the enemy. And then screw it. So don't say you're. And if that's the way you are, that's fine. Just don't say you're a principled person. Just don't say you're a principled person.
Well
That's
said.
it.
And I think this is where voters are right now. That this is baking inside the voter base right now. They're fed up with this. This is the same bullshit that you see in the United States Congress right now with John Thune. So John Thune's I'm sure he's a wonderful dad. I'm sure he's a wonderful family man, but I do not like his politics. I don't like the way he comports himself. I'm not impressed by it. I don't like the total lack of zeal and interest in terms of what's going on with the SAVE Act. I mean, there's been zero fight. It's very frustrating to me, and it's consistently so. And so Trump announces that he endorses Paxton, and the United States Senate coils up in a fetal position, okay, and gives Cornyn a standing ovation. It's like, are you listening to what happened here? Are you seeing what's going on across the nation with what voters are saying they expect from you guys? These people don't care. They pack up their toys and they went home, right? Instead of sticking around. There's business to be done. I'm telling you, I know we keep talking about the economy, but the idea that Senate Republicans have walked away from a fight on what is probably the most consequential legislation in my lifetime, the SAVE Act, the idea that you sort of whatever it, and this is important to Trump. This is important to Trump. John Cornyn has shown no fight and no interest. He said he was going to, remember Trump said, "Hey, I'm giving you my endorsement, SAVE Act matters." Paxton came out and said,
I'll drop out.
exactly.
Yep.
Remember that on the SAVE Act? And then what happened?
Nothing.
Cornyn
See,
has,
that's where Cornyn. You want to talk about principle? That Paxton made a claim and was willing to prove that he was principled on the SAVE Act. If Cornyn was wise, but whatever was pulling Cornyn's strings, he should have said, "I'll support the SAVE Act because I should be doing it anyway." That should have been low-hanging fruit. And Cornyn should have said, "Damn, you're handing me this shit? Easy. Yes, got it, Ken. Now the spotlight's on him.
Keep going.
To say whether he's to show whether he's
and what
a
did
principled
Cornyn do? Cornyn said, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to do it."
And then doesn't.
Senate Republicans are like, "Are you out of?" "Oh no, just kidding." And then this is the kind of he's doing it. He's basically proving Paxton right on live camera, and voters are fed up. But Nico brings up a legitimate question: can they win in the general?
I don't know, man.
So can we translate that intensity and that passion and that look? The get out the vote thing's been working. I mean, they showed up.
Don't shit in your own house just because you're pissed off at somebody else. I mean, just it doesn't make sense on your front porch. I mean, why would you give that seat away even if you're pissed off? I mean, be principled. That's my recommendation to people. Be principled, and look with the Republican platform. That's why I tell people I'm not a Republican. I vote Republican. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christ follower. I'm an American citizen of Lebanese Mexican descent. I'm a husband. I'm a daddy. Those are my identifiers. I give a shit about this stuff. But which platform allows me to advocate my ideals and my principles? Well, the Republican Party today. The Democrat Party is nuts. Just think about that. I mean, that's why I wanted Crockett to win. I was worried about Tallarico winning. I mean, that would have been an easier fight because she's nuts. This guy's a snake, man. I'm telling you, he's a snake. Worse than Gavin Newsom.
So, May 26 is coming up, just around the corner. If Paxton wins, what do you think John Cornyn is going to do? So, if he's a principled guy, right, and he's a big boy, he should say, "Look, I lost. It happens. You know, the voters have decided, and so I'm gonna get behind Paxton. I'm gonna support him."
Yeah,
I think it's going to
That
happen.
ain't happening.
I have a question about redistricting because I keep on thinking that Republicans, are relying on this redistricting magic to allow Republicans to win. But I mean, that really isn't something
Nico,
that we should be considering.
On Karen's point, and I don't think it's enough, but I
No.
think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal. I don't think it's enough. It's never enough. We should. Nico says, "Don't be complacent. You know, get your ass off your couch and make sure. I mean, don't take anything for granted because you'll lose." But two things are happening in our favor. We have a lot of money. the National Republican Congressional Committee has a lot of money.
And they've shown that they use that wisely, right?
Yeah, well, no, not at all. I'm saying we have a lot of money, and I was just going to say, historically, electorally, typically the party out of power is raising a crap ton of cash because of grassroots discontent and all of that. That's not happening.
No, it's not.
You've got the party in power actually has more. I can't remember last time this happened. The party in power actually has a lot more money and is raising more money, like in Q1, than the party out of power. So I think that bodes well for Republicans. That's a positive. Okay. Number two is that the battlefield has become smaller because of the redistricting. I mean, and I don't think out of 435 people in Congress, Nico, I think there's maybe 30 or 40 House seats that are in play, and they're competitive. And so that's not a lot. And now with the redistricting changes, Republicans have a real shot at maintaining the House and Senate. Are they going to be faithful? Are they going to be good stewards? The voters are saying that they don't believe that the incumbents that are in Congress right now, especially in the United States Senate, with these losses, that they don't believe that these people are going to step up, and so they want new blood. That's what the voters are saying. And do you think the United States Senate is listening? That's what worries me. I don't think they're listening. I think they would rather have Democrats in power and keep playing their games, right, and pretending that they're principally conservative. They would rather do that than take up the mantle of the voters. That worries me. That's very, very concerning. So the only solution for that is the voters have to show up en masse and make things happen. Will that happen? I don't know. We'll see.
There you go.
Well, when even the Democrats started complaining about Trump endorsing Paxton, I mean, that was like a mind blower to me, and an easy choice to say, okay, well, now I know everything's become clear, even if you didn't have your mind made up between Cornyn and Paxton.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still pissed off. I think the Republicans have squandered grace. I think Trump has squandered grace. I think God was so gracious to us with this last election, where this country was going, what the border was like, what was happening, who was being led in this country, how cities were getting destroyed, how gender, women's sports. I mean, everything. It was just going to hell in it. It was like Sodom and Gomorrah to me. And then the Lord was gracious to us. And I'm irritated. I'm pissed off at Republicans, to be honest with you. I'm pissed off at Trump. I think this has been squandered, in my opinion. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm principled, so which party, follows the principles I believe this country will benefit from. I mean, it's the Republicans. There's no question about that. And Trump, look, I support Trump. I don't have to like everything he does. I don't have to support everything he does to support him. That's the way it goes. I mean,
But you're not advocating a why bother attitude.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, I'm like, get in the fight.
yeah.
The people are staying out. No, not why bother. Get in the fight.
Double down.
You just
Yeah.
got it. This is I tell people, often the choice is not between bad and great. It's bad and better. Just you got to make edge for. I was like Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says you shouldn't have a car payment. If you have an $800 car payment, you're stupid. Okay, got it. Everyone's and if you can't get rid of that $800 car payment, trade your car in and get it down to a $300 car payment. Better your position. Always better your position. I believe in that. You don't eat an elephant by gobbling it. It's one bite at a time. No one broke out of prison by blowing it up the walls. They usually chipped away at it, little at a little. You chip away at things, and you better your position. You put yourself in a better, advantageous position to win. And so that's how my mindset is to where, I mean, you very rarely dominate a trial where it just, I mean, it happens sometimes where you just, and there's like, 5-minute not guilty or a 9-minute not guilty, which has happened to us many times. But sometimes it's a, hey man, you squeaked this one by, but it had reasonable doubt or whatever it is. Yep. You got it, and it just little inch by inch, little bit things by, and so I don't know. I just think we're in a weird place, man, with people, and I'm irritated, to be honest with you, if you can't sense it, because I believe that we've squandered grace. I think God was gracious to us, and I mean, look what He did to Israel. Speaking of Israel, in the book of Judges, 12 times they repented, and then no problems. We're sorry, thank you, and then they go right back to the same shit, and He lets them reap the harvest of their bad seed. And then a non-faithful, a non-God following judge came in and saved their ass 12 times. I mean, I just feel like that's where we're at. I really do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, and there are times when God allows us to avoid the full load of the consequences of our actions. But there are many other times when He turns us over to those consequences. And we're just kind of worried. I think in the context of you using the term squandering grace, at some point, you run out. You do. You run out because you're not learning. You're not adjusting. And so at some point, you could argue that God extending you that grace is actually worse for you, because you're not learning anything. And so now using that grace to become worse. And as a good father, he's not going to do that. What good parent would allow their kid to continue to use your extensions of grace to hurt themselves and hurt others? At some point, you got to draw the line and say, I'm not making things better here. So we're wondering politically, are we at that stage? I certainly hope not. Certainly hope not.
So mosque, what do you want to do?
Just a few minutes on that, because there was another mosque shooting, but the police didn't release very much information.
What are you talking about? On the
two
Yeah, they did.
teenagers
They had-
or whatever.
They had a whole
In the beginning, they said, no, we're not going to say anything. But then it turns out, what? Who are they? These
they're a
teenagers?
bunch of weird kids. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
These I don't know. These kids seem like they hate the world. I mean, they hate Mexicans, they hate blacks, they hate Jews, they hate Islamic people. They wore Nazi symbols. They hated everybody. They identified as, and I learned this term. I looked this up, Salo. I know you probably identify with this. Incel movement, like you're an involuntary celibate because nobody wants to have a relationship with you. It means you're a miserable son of a bitch and nobody wants, and you have nothing to offer somebody. So you're just incel, involuntary. Did you know
Don't
that?
look at me.
Well, did you know that? Did you know that? Involuntary
No, I
cell?
didn't know
I didn't
that.
know that. It's a corrosive attitude. I mean, these, and then I guess Clark shot Vasquez at the end and then shot himself. These were just sick
Yeah.
individuals. So I don't know what, I just think it's more of a reflection of where our society is and what our young people are picking up on, because we're not guiding them with principles. I mean, this is just, they hated Jews. It seemed like they hated everybody.
I want to pull up the
Say it.
75. It was a 75-page unfinished manifesto. And I think that's the right way to. I think the way you've characterized it is correct. They literally hated everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, I went through the list here. I mean, you saw Muslims and blacks and legal migrants and illegal migrants and Latinos and Asians and industrial society, the corporate society and gays and trans and Donald Trump and the magatard boomers and liberals and conservatives and moderates and women. I mean, and I have to be honest, though, got to be honest, at the top of the list, the number one target of their hate, ironically and interestingly, are the Jews. That the Jews
So they go
are
after
at
Islamic
the
people.
heart, right? They're not like Muslims either. The Jews are at the heart of all that is evil. And they have a particular disdain for women, too. I thought that was interesting here.
Well, because no women want them. They're incels or whatever the shit that is.
After the Jew, quote, this is an 18-year-old and 17-year-old. Kayla Vasquez, who was 18, and Kane Clark, 17. And Kayla Vasquez, interestingly, called himself, I self-identified as a white person, even though he's Latino, but I thought that was interesting. But he wrote this, quote, after the Jew, the most evil creature in this world is the woman. Being short, especially now more than ever, he was a short guy and felt disenfranchised because of his shortness, especially now more than ever, is nothing short of a torturous humiliation ritual. As someone who's been short my whole life, trust me, I know from experience, and they've never let me forget it. When a girl is shy or introverted, it's cute, but I, as a guy, for being the exact same, am seen as weird and awkward. When a girl is autistic, as it is seen as quirky, but I, being an autistic guy, I'm treated like a R-word retard. That's what he claims that he is. And it was like this. I mean, they went from issue to issue to issue, and there's just visceral hate.
My God.
Absolute.
I'll tell you what, though, that damn security guard, man, that guy's a hero. That dude is a hero. That guy he did the lockdown. They were trying to go to school and they locked him down. He died in the hallway where he belonged. I mean, God bless that dude. I don't care what religion he is. That dude, I mean, I hope God honors him. I mean, he saved a lot of kids because those some bitches were going to kill as many people as they could. They were. That's just evil. This is demented depravity. This is a depraved, reprobate heart. Scriptures talk about it. You can't reconcile that to God. I mean, the only way to deal with animals like this is to exterminate them. So, I mean, I wish they wouldn't have taken out 3 people before they took out each other.
Yeah, but I think it's a huge mistake to focus just on the various bigotries, because I know that's where we're landing right now in a news cycle. You focus on the anti-black statements and the anti-Jew statements and the anti-Muslim statements, the anti-woman statements. And everybody's looking at their categories, right? So, and that's where we're going to park. It's all just bigotry. But I think Nico's pointing to something deeper. I think you got to go. This is a product of our society right now. This is where we are societally. With all of the social media, with all of the quote-unquote interaction. We've never interacted as little as we interact right now. People are more and more isolated. These kids felt like they were isolated. They weren't. They were clearly disconnected from everyone. And so what they did is not having any connection whatsoever, they lived in meme world. And in fact, they talked about that. They elaborated on what they thought was the key. How do you radicalize the masses? He says, they encourage the meme technology, right? Reduce everything to memes so that you can categorize and you can sort of put your opponents in a box, and you can essentially redefine them. You can dehumanize your opponent. And so this is a manifesto for how our technology, it seems to me, how social media is being used to dehumanize people. They felt dehumanized, and they trafficked in dehumanization. The people that they killed weren't human. It was a statement. They weren't even human. And none of the people that they're talking about, it was a manifesto of sheer hatred. And I don't think it's just about Clark and Vasquez. I think this is a red flag. We need to look at our culture. Yep. We better pay attention. This isn't isolated to these guys.
Sid made a comment and it goes right along with what you're saying, George. She said it's the poison of social media, where nastiness gets to hide behind screens, but is rewarded for the meaner and more visceral it gets. And I believe that.
Yeah, but it's we've lost our moral compass. I mean, there has to be a set of ideas and rules, ideology that govern this country. It used to be Judeo-Christian. Biblical, let's just say biblical in general. It's not anymore. And so it's up to parents. It's up to churches working with parents. It's up to churches getting outside the four walls and just deal with people. I mean, even non-believers, non-Christians, you treat them a certain way. And it's just, I don't know, man. This shows the need to get outside of your little bubble.
It's a worldview.
It's a worldview.
This is nihilism.
Yeah.
This is nihilism. If you needed an exhibit on that worldview, this is it. Nihilism is meaninglessness. Nothing is worth anything. Nothing means anything. These guys weren't on the right or the left. This isn't a political party thing.
No,
they hated literally every. I'm looking through this list. I mean, this is racism and anti-Semitism, all the labels, misogyny. Everything's here. But what's the clear thread of all of this is that they had lost a sense of meaning. They didn't feel like belong to anybody.
That's right.
They felt completely meaningless to people. But they're not alone. I think this is
why'd they choose the mosque? If they hated everybody, why'd they choose the mosque over Hispanics or Jews or?
Well, I mean, Muslims didn't escape. I mean, they weren't any more or less hated than.
Okay, so it just seemed convenient.
That's why I think it's interesting. People are, if these guys are supremacists, you could have fooled me, because I mean they see themselves as victims.
Yeah.
Not exactly how a supremacist typically characterizes themselves or sees themselves, but this is victimization, and it's become your identity. You are a victim. It's everyone else's fault, and they deserve to die for dehumanizing you. So you're going to dehumanize. And this is a vicious cycle of anger. You've been shown anger, you've been shown indifference, you've been shown apathy, and so you return it. And this is a real clarion call for us as a society, truly. And I know it's interesting, and I think it's an irony, but I just point it out. Amin Abdullah is one of the three Muslim gentlemen that died. And they shouldn't have died. Totally horrific. I have very strong feelings about Islam.
I do too.
There's peripheral issues that we can discuss. And this is the Islamic. I think this is the Islamic Center of San Diego. And I don't know if people realize, but there were members from the 9/11 hijackers that came from this mosque. So this is a politically charged mosque,
right?
And there's a history here. Fair enough, but no one's safe here. I think the church has been sucked into this vortex. We're too busy trying to play in it. I know it's hard because we're in the system and we're trying to create changes in the system, but we're also part of it. How do we do that? It's difficult, but that's where we are right now. This mosque, one of the gentlemen, I think Nico was probably pertaining to him, the guy who was praised for his heroism. I think it was Amin Abdullah was his name, as he protected school kids from these terroristic thugs. I just went. I was curious about these guys, so I went on their X profile, and it broke my heart, because if you go to X, here he is, this same guy that's being praised as a hero, legitimately in this circumstance. He's on X, and there was a fellow Muslim that had posted an image of Hitler. This is earlier. And in the caption, he wrote, quote, "Do you now understand why I did what I did?" End of quote. That's Adolf Hitler. As if to say, this is why I exterminated, 8 million Jews. Wow. And then Abdullah responds, "Hellfire is waiting for them." This is my point.
Insane.
This is a red flag for everyone. Yeah. Even our heroes are caught up in the system of visceral hatred for one another. If the culture has ever needed Jesus, this is it.
Yeah.
This is horrific. And I hope people are paying attention, Nico. It's just heartbreaking.
It's a holiday weekend. I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, I got to go to graduation parties. I mean, I got the kids going here. I'm getting text messages.
Thank you, George. Thank you for that, though, that it was definitely worth pointing out. Heroes can also be enemies.
Well, we're caught up in the same vicious.
Yeah. Well, thank you,
system.
Karen. Thanks, George. Thanks for tolerating us. Sorry we're cutting it short, but the holiday weekend, a lot of graduation parties, kids going out,
People
weather's
have
bad.
stuff.
Yeah, it sucks. Sallow is sallow. But guys, enjoy. Hey, we should honor the people that allow us to have these opinions and to talk. Memorial Day weekend should be important, and we should acknowledge that. Thank you for all the people that have made the ultimate sacrifice, but also their families. I mean, because there's new normals in people's lives, and people forget about that, and we shouldn't. So acknowledge that. Pray for families. If you have someone that a family member has lost somebody or serves our country, thank them. Thank them that we can have opinions and we can disagree, and we can have platforms like this, and you can disagree with our government and you can disagree with whomever you want to. It's only because of the soldier. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Bye-bye.